The Lightless Labyrinth. "Let's go, let's go. This way," whispered Max eagerly, beckoning his friends to follow him through the broken mall entrance. Their flashlights danced ahead into the darkness, revealing the ghostly remains of what was once a vibrant shopping center. Shards of glass and scraps of forgotten memories crunched under their sneakers. "This is crazy creepy," laughed Lily nervously, peering into an empty storefront. She pulled her jacket tighter, eyes darting to each shadowy movement. A louder crunch made her jump. "Jesus, chill out," chuckled Vince, elbowing her playfully. But his confident swagger seemed a bit forced. Out of their usual downtown haunts, the towering corridors felt unearthly quiet. An adventure off the beaten track. Lucas lingered behind, tracing his fingers over a faded wall map, his brow slightly furrowed. He noticed strange markings scrawled hastily beside a maintenance door. "Hey, check this out." "Yo, don't get lost, man," called Vince. "It's freaking huge in here." His voice echoed down the debris-strewn atrium, devoured by darkness. Lucas pulled out his phone and took a quick snapshot before jogging to catch up. Deeper inside the crumbling structure, there was no moonlight, only their thin flashlight beams carving through the pitch black. They entered an old department store, displays bare except for a few broken mannequins that watched them pass. "I dare you to ask if they have this in my size," snickered Max. Vince cackled loudly, the sound bouncing off unseen walls. Lily's wide eyes swept over the looming figures. A vintage perfume advertisement is on the floor next to a rusted perfume bottle. She felt strangely intrusive, as if trespassing through someone's memories. "Hey, Lily, what's wrong?" "You look kind of freaked," said Lucas, noticing her unease. She shook off the nerves with a hesitant laugh. "It's nothing. Just got the creeps a bit back there." A sudden far-off noise. They paused, ears pricked. "What was that?" whispered Lily sharply. The media signs adorning each section flickered erratically before the lights died. Darkness swallowed them whole. 4 flashlight beams fumbled frantically to regain their bearings. "Backup generator must still work somehow," muttered Lucas. His light illuminated a broken escalator. "Can we go now?" "This place is freaking me out," urged Lily, hugging herself tightly. "Let's just check out the basement." "I saw a door back there labeled staff only," said Max eagerly. His reckless curiosity always got the better of him. Might find something cool. They ventured deeper through the tangle of dead stores. Mannequin limbs reached from fractured display windows as if struggling to escape. Everything coated in a film of dirt and desertion. Rounding a far corner, they halted abruptly. An open doorway labeled "Staff Only." Lucas swept his light over the walls, noticing more strange symbols, almost like warnings or wards. His breath quickened. "Guys," a loud crash echoed from inside the black void of the storage room. They jumped violently, cries stifled behind their hands. Lily clutched Vince's jacket with trembling fingers. "I really don't like this now. Let's just go," she pleaded under her breath. But Max had already clambered through the doorway, his thin frame devoured by shadows. Lucas lingered a moment, pulse hammering, as he shone a light over the ominous symbols once more. His blood ran cold. Lucas swept his light over the walls, noticing more strange symbols, almost like warnings or wards. His breath quickened. "Guys," a loud crash echoed from inside the black void of the storage room. They jumped violently, cries stifled behind their hands. Lily clutched Vince's jacket with trembling fingers. "Max," Lucas hissed, sweeping his light frenetically as he stumbled towards the dark opening. Peering inside, his beam illuminated a small, cramped space lined with metal shelving, now collapsed and corroded. He caught a flash of movement, darting behind one of the units. "Over here," echoed Max's muted voice. Lucas shuffled around the shelves apprehensively until his light fixed on Max crouched by a small opening in the brick wall, just big enough to crawl through. Vince and Lily crowded behind Lucas, eyes wide. "What the hell are you doing, man?" Vince gasped, a tinge of excitement in his hushed voice. "Where's that go?" Max just grinned recklessly. "Let's find out." Before they could react, he had disappeared into the hole. Lucas swept his light over the walls once more, skin prickling. "Those strange symbols." "Come on," urged Vince, snapping Lucas from his daze. He took a deep breath and followed Vince into the cramped space, crouching by the opening. The dusty air filled his lungs as they crawled forward into the unknown, their trembling lights revealing a tight tunnel of dirt and crumbling brick. "We shouldn't be doing this," came Lily's shaky whisper. Lucas glanced back at her pale face before continuing through the snaking corridors. The stale air was laced with an unnatural cold that seeped into their bones, each tiny noise amplified, their own heartbeats thundering in their ears. After what felt like hours, the claustrophobic tunnels branched unexpectedly before them. Two smaller passages split and disappeared into darkness. Strange markings were scrawled on the walls of one path. "Now what?" muttered Lily anxiously, hugging herself against the icy chill. She swept her light towards each option, but they faded quickly into blackness. Vince nervously studied the symbols by the right tunnel. "Looks like some weird hobo code or something." Abandoned here with no sense of direction, Lucas felt the hairs on his neck stand up. Were they going in circles? How would they ever get out? He shone a light back the way they came, an impenetrable void. "I say we keep moving forward," Max finally said. Lucas nodded reluctantly. A new ignorable intuition warned him to turn back, but Max scrambled eagerly into the unmarked tunnel before he could react. They continued in tense silence through the cramped, airless space for so long Lucas feared they were going around in useless circles or steadily downward. Too far now to ever escape this endless maze. Just as he was about to urge them to turn around, Max halted abruptly with a loud gasp. "No freaking way." His awed exclamation was joined by Lily's shocked cries. Lucas shuffled hastily around a corner, and his flashlight revealed a small room of brick and cement, with a tidy kitchen table holding a steaming pot of fresh coffee. Clean mugs set neatly beside. "What the hell?" Vince uttered in disbelief, grasping Lily's shaking hand. As she clung to him, Lucas swept his light speechlessly over their bizarre surroundings. The room was ordinary, apart from being somehow underground in this abandoned tunnel maze. Max eagerly grabbed a mug and took a sip. "It's still hot," he cried. Lucas swiped a mug from his unresisting hands and sniffed it warily. "Just coffee." "We need to get out of here now," Lily urged, her voice creeping towards hysteria. She tugged Vince back the way they came. Lucas's mind spun wildly as he tried to process this inexplicable room. His light flickered. "Let's keep moving," Max said, crawling towards a doorway on the other side of the room. "If there's somehow random coffee down here, maybe there's a way out too." Vince hesitated before following Max into the doorway. A numb Lily clinging to him, Lucas swept his flashlight beam over the bizarre kitchen one last time. His light stuttered again. Heart pounding, he turned towards the dark doorway. Lucas swept his flashlight beam over the bizarre kitchen one last time. His light stuttered again. Heart pounding, he turned towards the dark doorway. They crawled forward into a cleaner, more polished tunnel. Lucas froze as his hand brushed against something solid but strangely soft, like fine hair. He jerked it back with a cry. His flashlight flickered dangerously and died. "My light's gone," Lucas shouted. Blind, he felt Lily clutch his arm with trembling fingers. Suddenly, a blood-curdling scream echoed from the way they came. Bouncing off the tunnel walls, Lily shrieked, pulling Lucas forward desperately through the dark. "Faster," she cried. Lucas stumbled blindly, one hand along the wall, dreading the approach of thundering footsteps behind them. Finally, his hand met open air, a corner. They fell forward into a dim industrial space, the mall basement. In the distance, the faint glow of an exit sign. They bolted towards stairs leading up, dusty abandoned boxes and equipment flying past in a blur. The heavy door at the top was chained shut. Together they broke open the lock and tumbled out into the fresh night behind the mall. With rasping breaths, They collapsed against the outer wall, scraping their ripped clothes and bloodied palms. Lucas's mind reeled as he gazed up at the black mole windows. One seemed to shift slightly, then fall still. Had someone been there? What was that place? Panted Vince. Lily sobbed into her scraped hands. No one had an answer. Later, huddled safely in Lucas's room, they desperately scoured the internet for similar accounts, explanations for the bizarre tunnels, the warm coffee, the scream. Nothing came close. In the following days, an unspoken tension descended within the group. A haunted look lingered in their eyes that others noticed but knew not to ask about. They withdrew into themselves, puzzling endlessly over what had happened. What had they encountered in that lightless labyrinth? The questions were endless, the answers few. But one fact remained, poisoning their minds, their dreams. Their world had shifted. A curtain torn back to briefly reveal something ancient and strangely ominous that existed alongside everything they had known, waiting silently in the shadows.